All right, let's jump into this thing. It was on a Sunday morning, sometime last year, I guess it was, that I was doing my usual thing, standing at the front door, and meeting people who are coming in. You did your usual thing of coming to church late.
I come to the 11 o'clock service, so yeah.
You come to the 11:10
Yeah.
service.
It's an official service.
But anyway, was coming in, and I floated this idea about joining me on this trip, and you said yes. So what prompted you to say yes to that?
Well, I mean, like a lot of people in this room in our church, I kind of knew about the international outreach programs we had in Haiti and Kenya, and I was curious what exactly Haiti was like. So I said yes because I wanted to make this happen, and I was hoping that it would be multiple dentists, and I would be serving in an organizational capacity more than anything. Because yes, I'm a dentist, but I'm an orthodontist. I've specialized in just braces and Invisalign, and I haven't done extractions or injections or anything for about 14 years until this trip. So I didn't really think of myself as being the big worker in getting all this done.
Yeah, he tried this on me. Like, I haven't pulled any teeth in 14 years. I said, dude, it's like riding a bike. Come on.
And I told Doug, I was like, no. It's like pulling teeth, Douglas. It's literally pulling teeth. But I mean, it's true. It's that knowledge was back in there somewhere. But I, as the time got closer, and I realized that just because of schedules and logistics, I wasn't going to be able to get anybody else, any other dentist, to join us. That a lot of the work was going to fall on me. It would have been much easier to say no, and say let's just do this another time, or I can't because of family or business work, But I felt pretty strongly. My wife and I talked about it, and that this was being presented, this opportunity was being presented for a reason, and that we needed to make it happen. So we'd gone to another church locally for years. That everyone knew what I did, but none of it was never presented. Hey, let's do this dental. Let's go to one of our countries that we help and do some dental work. And the fact that we had recently started coming to Cyprus, and Douglas, as the pastor, reached out and said, we have partners that need help of a dentist. Can you help out? I don't hear God speak to me, but sometimes you see like his plan laid out, and you just have to say yes and accept it.
That's an important point. A couple things. One is, don't tell me what you do unless you want me to tell you how to do that for the Lord.
Very good point.
Second is so many times when opportunities are given, we look for, well, I want to find a reason why I should do it. You know what? Reverse it. You say yes unless God says no. So anyway, you said yes. Now, it was you and I and another man from the church named Pete who went with us, and I'll speak of that a little bit later as a godsend that Pete Ward went with us on this trip. But Haiti is not necessarily known as the vacation destination in the Caribbean, and so we flew. It's a whole day to get there. So we flew into Port-au-Prince. Usually we fly then up north, and then it's like an hour drive to where we go. But that plane was not running, so we had a 6-hour ride up to St. Louis du Nord. So you got to see the country up close and personal. Tell us about some of your first impressions.
Yeah, well, I'd been to the Dominican before, and I kind of, which is the shares Hispaniola, that island with Haiti. So I kind of had an idea of what to expect topography-wise and all that. But by comparison, it's a much poorer country, and the Dominican is not a very rich country either. But at least it has some tourism going on with it. And I mean, if you look at the map, it's like there's Haiti, Dominican, and Jamaica is right there, which are like, Jamaica's like a great Caribbean destination. But for whatever reason, Haiti has just always struggled. And the tourism industry, or the lack of it, doesn't help them. And there's just no jobs. People are just existing, basically. There's not a lot of opportunities for advancement in life. They're just living day by day. Probably, not a great government infrastructure. The roads were very poor. I mean, it's like they were technically more like paths that somebody threw rocks on every once in a while. It was the road. The ride up there was very rough. I mean, you just picture the worst road you've ever been on. Increase that by 5, and then do that for about 4 hours straight of just. I kind of felt like in Finding Nemo, like the find a happy place, find a happy place. But we made it there. But I mean, the whole time I'm saying, like, this is what people live with every day. I would, like, never leave my little town I was in. And that's really what they do. They would hardly ever leave the town they're in.
You know, Haiti, the average salary for families is $1 a day. And so you probably have seen pockets, maybe somewhere along the line of just abject poverty. Imagine an entire country, you know, that is living in this abject poverty, $1 a day, no opportunities, not jobs, not opportunities for advancement. We could go on with all that. And, you know, people ask me about Haiti and Kenya, and you know, because Kenya is what Haiti wishes it was. You know, that's the way I describe it, and then it really shocks
I mean, it makes you realize that just, I mean, even a poor American by our standards is rich relative to them, because there's opportunities and jobs that they just simply don't have there. And these people are just, they're born into this island, and just realistically, they will never make it off of that island. They will live their whole life there, and it's just sad that they're trapped, but they need people to come and help them.
And there's a really bright spot in this. We'll get to this towards the end. Now, I want you to kind of tell us about, we were there 5 days, 1 full day to get there, a full day getting back, and then 3 days. Like for 2.5 of those days, you had your hands in people's mouths. So tell us about what you and Pete were doing.
It doesn't sound cool when you say it that way.
I usually have my foot in mine.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's...
wow, that's
nice.
So tell us about what you guys do, and then show us some pics.
Yeah, well, I'm going to show some pictures. I took a lot of photos while we were down there. We all did, because I really wanted to share with our church, you know, what we as a church do and are involved with and help down there, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. You know, someone said that once. So I was going to go through and show some pictures of our trip. To start off, I reached out to a lot of the local dentists in our community here for help with supplies, you know, toothbrushes, toothpaste, floss. I wanted to bring down things to help to give to the people there. And I got a great response. I mean, we probably had about 25 or 30 dentists that donated, you know, supplies.
Somebody give their dog?
No, that's my dog. Just perspective as far as the box. That's actually a Great Dane. This is like a mountain of supplies. Can't you?
Okay.
But that was one of the limitations. We had to get all this stuff down there, and you can't just like FedEx it there. We had to put it in big suitcases, and we basically had 3 big roller bags of suitcases that we took down there with us, with all these supplies. To get there, you know, the road, like we were talking about, were non-existent. Most of them were along the coast, so you could kind of stare out at blue water that you never got to get near. But they're basically just dirt paths, people going by, very dusty the whole way. The villages that we went through, I mean, there would just be people on the roads the whole time, just, you know, trading, working, running around, just existing.
You described it like a 6-lane highway. So what was that?
Yeah, so, well, the road, technically it's a 2-lane road each way, but there's like, we figured out there's like 6 or maybe 7 lanes of traffic that are happening. There's like pedestrians walking on the very edge, then there's scooters whipping by them, and then there's the cars going, you know, kind of in the middle of the road each way, and then there's this middle lane that's kind of like chicken, like who's going to get in that lane long enough and then zip over and get out of the way. I mean, but amazingly, we never saw an accident the whole time we were there.
But our driver lived in that middle lane.
Yeah. I sat in the back, and so I was facing backwards the whole time, and it was probably good that I didn't see, I heard about a lot of the narrow exchanges of traffic that we had there, but it was exciting to say the least. So, you know, some of the areas too, I mean, the roads were basically, you know, when they got to a waterway, you know, they didn't build bridges. The cars had to drive through the water. And it was also, it was the road/car wash or scooter wash or whatever, because people would just be hanging out in that spot, just washing their cars and stuff like that. And some of the water got pretty deep. I mean, we had a snorkel on our car, fortunately, so I was able to do that. But
We
I'm
did.
are we going to start like floating pretty soon, like down the river? But this is just how people had to get back and forth from this part of the country to the airport. This is where we stayed at a mission. Pretty modest sleeping arrangements. It was, you know, but it was safe and secure and kind of clean. I mean, the bathrooms were like, you know, minimally as long in there as you can be. Get in and out quick. This is how our day started most of the time. This is Jose. He is the brother of the pastor there at the church that we partner with. A great guy. I mean, he did everything we needed for to make it happen for us. He would go get supplies for us if we needed them. He would get it. He basically took a bus ride 6 hours down to meet us in Port-au-Prince, then got in the car with us, with the driver, to drive us back, just to make sure we felt safe and secure the whole time. And then at the end, he drove back down to Port-au-Prince with us, and then took a bus ride back. So, I mean, he spent basically a
Yep.
couple days of his life just getting us there and back because he knew that his people needed help. This is one of my favorite experiences that we had while we were there. I got to talk to the Sunday school children at the church there about taking care of their teeth and giving them toothbrushes and supplies. And one of the first things I asked them, and Joe's translated for me, was, how many of you children have a toothbrush, your own toothbrush? And I mean, like less than half of the kids raised their hands. I mean, we just assume everybody's got their own toothbrush. I mean, now making kids use the toothbrush is a whole nother experience. But I mean, these kids don't even have a toothbrush. So we were able to give all the kids, I mean, and all the adults their toothbrushes as well with everything we brought down. And got to talk with them about taking care of their teeth and cleaning. And then immediately afterwards, they had the second service for the church on Sunday, and the kids came over from there, and I mean, they were clutching these toothbrushes and toothpaste like a toy. Like, they were awesome to them. And it's like they had their Bible and their toothbrush right on top of it. I'm like, this is dentist heaven. I'm like, so they all came in. They sat in the service with us. This is a picture of the front of the church. I just love this photo because it just shows kind of all the people coming in and out of there and all the kids. And Douglas is there to the right, and that's Pete to his left. And all the kids came in to join in the service with us. This is Pastor Jean talking up on the stage there. This is their worship band, just much smaller.
And the building is a concrete box, and they play these things at about the level of a jet engine taking off, and it really in a concrete box.
And the keyboardist is Jude, who's another one of the pastor's brothers. So it's really a family affair down there. This family that makes this church happen. All the children sit in the service as well, off to the left of the stage, which I thought was pretty cool. And they're just the most well-behaved kids. They sit there the whole time listening. I'm like, if that was my kids, I'd be like, get up from the chair.
Could you
Stop.
imagine, to the right, there was like I don't know, 100 or 200 kids just all sitting together, with no adult supervision.
Yeah. And then this was one of the other more poignant moments of the service was they did communion, and then at the end, like all the kids and the people they came up and they ate whatever bread was left because it was food, and they would not let it go to waste. So that was just like, whoa, okay. This kind of shows from the front of the stage back. It's basically, like Douglas said, a big concrete box. That's me and Pete. We basically worked in the back of the church in a small office there. This was my dental setup. The light I have on my head here is another like small little God moment, because I didn't really know what I was getting into. I went to Ross like the day before we left to get like some shorts to wear. And you know how they have that like section over to the right when you walk in where it's just random, this is stuff we're trying to get rid of. And I just looked over there and they had this light. I'm like, oh, that might be kind of useful to have while I'm down there. And I mean, it would have been such a pain that gave me illumination in the mouth to see. Otherwise, I would have had someone holding a flashlight or me holding a flashlight. And it was like, I don't know if God has a partnership with Ross, but like, he put that light there for me to take down there, and it was useful. Pete's light was not as useful all the time. He would kind of, his light turned off every once in a while. Yeah. But Pete was a super big help. We like to joke about him, because he's kind of a funny guy. Yeah. But if he had not gone, and you think, Pete's not a dentist. He's a guy who just had the time and willingness and ability to go serve. That if it wasn't for him being there, I mean, he doubled the amount of work I was able to do, because as a dentist, I can set up the trays, I can do the sterilization, I can glove and unglove to pick up everything I need to. But if you just have another set of hands there to help you out, which is what Pete was, it really increased the number of patients that I could see and help, because there's only so many hours in the day, and I mean, we could at maximum see maybe 20 patients a day when you go through the process of seating them, screening them, numbing them, taking out the teeth, post-operative, all that. So it takes time. So Pete was a big help in getting us through and seeing as many patients as we could.
To comment on Pete, because Pete was not going to be planned to go with us, and it was just going to be Jeremy and I. And I was leaving on a Sunday after service. We were leaving on that Thursday, and Pete said something about my week and what I was doing. And so I walked over to him and quietly said, I'm going to Haiti. I didn't want to announce it, because when the cat's away, the mice play at Cyprus. And so like, I want you to find out I'm gone on the service, you know.
You're giving away your secrets.
I know that laugh. And so I just said, well, I'm going to Haiti. And, you know, he said, and Pete's been there to Haiti. He's helped us get water in Haiti because we provide potable water there, as well as we help get people get jobs. We do microloans that we do for people. And he said, you got another one for me? You know, I was like, yeah, sure, Pete, whatever, you know, because he always is joking. And so I was getting ready to drive off, and I pulled up and said, Pete, were you serious? And he said, yeah, I'm serious. And I said, call Atlanta, get my schedule, and join us. And he did. But there's no way.
Within days.
There was no way, we could have done what happened there without Pete being there, just by a simple yes. Sometimes amazing things happen if you just show up. Because Pete didn't know what he was going to be doing, but Pete, he triaged patients, because part of the challenge was, you know, the church got full of people wanting to see the doctor. Couldn't accommodate that many people. So he's triaging. We had to sterilize after the utensils after being used, and so he's got two propane little pots boiling water, that, you know, boiling one to get clean and boiling the other to get them clean, and then managing the flow of patients and, you know, keeping Jeremy inspired. And so you just never know, folks. You never know. And sometimes you think, if I don't have it figured out, I can't do it. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to know your next step. So sometimes just showing up, just saying yes is how it happens.
Yeah, and this young lady in the middle, Nancy, she was another big help that we didn't plan on having or even remotely think we would need, but just was provided for us. You know, she was another one of the pastor's sisters. 14-year-old. I mean, speaks multiple languages. She goes to school in Port-au-Prince and was home on her break, and she spent, you know, the 3 days with us, communicating with the patients, so I could know what their problem was, how they were doing as we were going through the procedures. And she was just a great, amazing lady and great help. Pretty good at Angry Birds on my phone too.
And she would take Jeremy's phone as he's working on patients.
She's sneaky too. She's like, oh, let me take some photos, you know. And I'm like, okay. And then like next thing you know, she's like, you know, Jetpack Joyride, Angry Birds, all these different things. I'm like, I go get my phone back and it's dead. I'm like, she's like, it's like just like with your kids. This is Pastor Douglas with Pastor Jean and Pastor Celestine, who's the father of the family, and who's kind of the retired senior pastor. And I'll get through the rest of these here. These are some of the kids there. They just, anytime they see you, you know, they smile and light up. Driving down the roads, I mean, they see, you know, us driving by. Just any white person driving by is exciting to them, and it was amazing. It wasn't always work. We had some fun. This is Jose in the chair. He actually had really good teeth. I mean, other than needing a cleaning, which is something I want to try to add for future years, you know, a lot of the patients actually had pretty good teeth. You know, but the ones that need to be extracted, that was the best thing we could do for them, because it really eliminated a problem that was only going to get worse. And by removing a tooth, you know, it wouldn't be a problem for them in the future. And it's also realistically some of the easiest type of dental mission work you can do as far as supplies and getting everything around. This was over at the pastor's house. I just love it. Douglas is wearing an apron and doing dishes.
This was my contribution.
Yeah. This is the top of the mission that we were at. You know, like I said, it's right along the coast. It's a beautiful area. And then Douglas.
Selfie.
This is some of the nightlife there. This is the nicest restaurant in town, Chez D'Or. It was food. That's being generous. We were down there during Carnival too, so we went down one of the nights just to kind of see what that was all about. And it was, you know, it was a lot of people, and it was, you know, we were there for a little bit, but got home before it got too crazy.
You haven't lived until you've done Carnival in Haiti, by the way.
But we were fortunate, you know, we made good friends with the security guard at the gas station there. And I mean, this guy, you can see him, he's holding a shotgun right there. So we're like, okay, we're in a good place if anything gets too wild. We did get some time to see the country. The pastor's family actually owns some land that is being converted into a coffee plantation to hopefully give some extra income. Because what is the pastor's salary, Pastor John?
Well, if I tell them, then people might get ideas.
They're going to want to go to Haiti and be a Haitian pastor?
He makes about $1,200-$1,500 a year.
A year, yeah. So we're trying, this is something that we're helping to support too, to hopefully get some extra income,
Yeah.
so he can be more in his church and not having to do other peripheral jobs to keep his family afloat. This is his wife Ketcha up on their property, and it's just beautiful land. I mean, it was amazing. We went down to one of the beaches there as well too, black sand. I don't know what this picture was about.
Check that out in the
we're
lower
just
left corner,
show up
right?
there. These are kids like whipping this bowl up and down this beach. I mean,
Now, can you see that out in Clearwater?
it's a different.
Chamber of Commerce.
And then there are also another group of kids playing soccer on the beach there too. And we didn't. I mean, the kids just drew this. When they're there, just see us. Just,
Yeah.
And this is another one of Douglas's famous selfies. I mean, he's got these long orangutan arms where he can go like panoramic selfie. Like I can barely get my head, and like he's like, shh.
Yeah, I had to squat down so we could see Jeremy.
I was on my tippy toes probably too. But anyway, so that was basically some of the photos from the trip, just to kind of give everybody an idea of what we're helping with down there.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is. All right, a couple of follow-up questions here. What you do is critically important. Who you do it with is equally important, right? And so you had a chance to really meet the church and the pastor and his family, the Charles family. Tell us what kind of people that they were.
I mean, just simply put, it's an amazing family. What they do for through their church locally is huge as well. What they're able to do without necessarily even our support. But they were just the most gracious, thankful people in the world, not only in words but in actions. Helping us do whatever we needed, getting us around, making sure we felt safe while we were there. When you go do stuff like this, you don't always necessarily have to have people thank you and be gracious and loving in return. I mean, that's not why you do it. You do it just to help them. But if you have a family like the Charles family there that is giving you all that, it just gives you so much more energy. And when you're tired at the end of the day from pulling teeth all day, it really spurs you on. So great people, and I found myself thanking them as much as for their help and support as they were thanking me for being there.
Incredible, highest integrity, the family. So now, looking back on it, it's been a little bit of time. How did the trip impact you?
It made me just realize how much the different types of gifts that I have to offer, and that everyone has to offer, really. I mean, we think about giving through our church as like just a financial thing, mainly. But we have so much more gifts than that to give. I mean, we have skills and training and education that we've got, growing up in America to help other people out like this. And it just made me look at different ways to make that happen. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a dentist or a doctor or a nurse or, Pete was none of those things, but he just had the time and the willingness to go, and he made just as much of an impact as I did, going. So it made me really realize that there's so many ways we can help out. And I was just really proud of our church. I mean, the leadership of our church and our church, financially supporting to allow these things to happen, to see these specific outreach programs that we have in Haiti and Kenya and downtown Clearwater, that we make these deep impacts in these areas that to tangibly see them was amazing. Yeah. And I remember one of my favorite conversations with Douglas was when we were flying down on the plane. I'm like, why Haiti? Like, how did we find this church? Because like when I'm realizing this is not a close church to the metropolitan center of Haiti, this is like a ways away. Like, how do we find out about this church? Why are we supporting this church? And he said, quite frankly, if we don't support this church, no one else will. They're not on anybody's radar. They're not getting Salvation Army relief. They're not around the earthquake relief fund area. Like, if Cypress Meadows Church doesn't help this church, they would probably cease to function, and this whole community would lose this beacon of light.
Yeah, what I had said, Jeremy was talking about that. I said, it really truly is, because like this area we are, everywhere Jeremy went and me, the kids would yell blah 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 with Creole for white, and
Pete said it was handsome.
Yeah, Pete thought it was handsome.
It was Creole for handsome,
and it crushed him. It crushed him. So when you see Pete Ward next time, say blah blah. Yeah. Okay, but I asked her how many other outside this mission stated. How many blahs did you see over where we were?
I mean, other than the mission we stayed at, there was no other blahs we saw. I mean, and we would drive down the road, and the kids would just run out and wave and smile. I mean, they loved seeing blahs come because they knew that help help was
You know,
coming.
So in
for
this
them,
community
too.
of, I've heard 20, 40,000 people in this community. There is no outside help coming in there except us. And in this one little corner of the world. And so I said, Jeremy, it's us or it's lights out. It's us or it's lights out. Either we support these kids or they end up in human trafficking, getting them into school and supporting them. Either we get clean water in there or it's not happening. And so what you guys are doing is absolutely flat out amazing, amazing, and I wish you all could experience it. All right, when are you going back? How can others join in?
Well, we're planning on doing this again next February as well. The time of year was perfect as far as, it's
He's
still...
hoping for Mardi Gras again.
I got to have one of those mayonnaise hamburgers again that we got. But we're going next February. 27th to March 3rd is the plan. Another 5-day trip. And at this time, I'd like to get more dentists involved. Now that I realistically know kind of what I'm getting them into and what we would need to see more patients, I think we can definitely do that. I already have a couple more that are actually committed now. And we'll need more assistance as well through volunteers to come. So if there's anybody who has a desire to see what our work in Haiti is like, we could certainly use another set of hands, just like Pete was. And then also, I'm hoping to get a couple dental hygienists from the area to join us as well too, because a lot of the patients had pretty good teeth. They could have used the cleaning. Almost everyone could have used the cleaning. And we just need some people to help out with that. So I'm hoping to add that to it. There will always be dental work there. I mean, not only the ones that we couldn't get to this time just by lack of manpower, but there will always be new teeth that need to be removed. Yep. So it's something I think we'll have a need annually that we won't ever be able to fully extinguish.
Yeah, yeah. So next year, certainly we'll do another, there'll be a medical piece to it. We believe in food for the body, food for the soul. And so, you doctors, other dentists, nurses, pediatricians, eye doctors, it doesn't matter what it is, all right? Start considering it, and Jeremy will be glad to answer questions about it. Final question here. On the Sunday we were there, we attended their second service, and all three of us had, what we might call like a God moment in that service. Tell us what was going on in you.
Well, I mean, it was very emotional, just to be blunt about it, and I'm an emotional guy, so sometimes your emotions get the better of you. We'd been there working a day already, and the people were just very loving on us, and we're sitting in this service, they're singing these great songs, and I'm looking around, and you just get this wave of feelings of just like, just being so fortunate for what you have and just being able to do this work there. But at the same time, you're also feeling guilty for what you have by comparison to what these people's life are like. I mean, you look around, by our standards, they have very little, like to look forward to in life other than existence and family around them. But you look at them and they're not sad. They don't feel bad for themselves at all. I mean, they're happy. They're full of hope. And it just struck me like the reason that they're hopeful is because of the church. That our church helping them, their church helping them, and just there's the knowledge that there's hope in Christ for them as well too. So just this light flickered on that, like this is what it's all about, and helping people through God. So I just felt fortunate to be there, and I hope that more people have an opportunity to feel what that's like, to literally be kind of the hands and feet of Jesus in this area, helping God's people know his love.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback on that in just a second, but I just want to say this, and I'll let Jeremy get off the platform. I'm very particular about who I'm with when I'm in Haiti and I'm in Kenya, because these are more than our partners in ministry. It feels like family, and I have great love and great admiration and appreciation for our partners in both Haiti and Kenya. And I only want to bring with me, I don't want to bring people who be patronizing, people who would think, here, this great person helping this poor individual. I want somebody who views folks fully as full brothers and sisters and loves them like that. And Jeremy and Pete both full of God's grace, full of love. And
we learned it by watching you, Douglas. Yeah,
they are. And I was just so darn proud of them, darn proud of our church. And I told them I'd take them anywhere on the planet to serve the Lord, because they got it in their hearts. So Anyway, can you thank Jeremy?
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.